Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. Over the last few days, we've seen a big controversy unfold within the BCCI and Virat Kohli. It was full of drama, nothing short of a soap opera of its own. There were lies, deceit, chicanery, political games and whatnot. But today we decided to deviate from that and talk about what is India's likely squad going to be for the ODIs in South Africa, given that there are players who are scoring a lot of runs in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, one being, of course, Venkatesh Iyer. Then there is Ruturaj Gaikwad, who's carried on the form from IPL into the Vijay Hazare Trophy. So what is going to be the likely squad for South Africa? We'll also talk about the likely playing 11 that we think will be the likely playing 11 for the ODIs in South Africa. Nikhil Narayan, as always, is here on the show with me. Nikhil, let's get started right away now with Rohit Sharma being out because of that hamstring injury. We will still see him as available for the ODIs because we still don't have any information on that. Given that, let's talk about the openers straight away.
Yeah.
Who are your openers going to be?
I think my number one choice in this series to partner Rohit Sharma Meha is Ruturaj Gaikwad. There is no way India cannot have him opening the innings, given what he's done in the IPL. The highest scorer this season in the IPL, 600 plus runs at a very high strike rate. Then what he's done in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, he's currently doing in the Vijay Hazare Trophy rather, 4 centuries in 5 matches and is at a strike rate, which is very high for an opening batsman. So not only is he scoring runs, he's scoring them at a very high rate, and therefore Ruturaj Gaikwad has to be drafted, into the 11 when he's in the form of his life.
Right. The only question that I have to ask you, then, you're saying the person to open with Rohit will be Ruturaj Gaikwad. Given the kind of form that he's in, what does one do with Ishan Kishan? Because he was your reserve opener. Actually got a 50 in his debut a match against Sri Lanka. Where do you see him? Does he make it to the squad?
I mean, I think he can make it to the squad, as the reserve wicketkeeper, although you also have KL Rahul, but Rahul can go as a specialist batsman. So Rishabh Pant will be the main keeper and Ishan Kishan can go as a second keeper. And if you are going with an extended squad because of the COVID-19 virus, then Ishan Kishan does make it to the squad. But I don't think he can make it to the 11 and as an opener over Ruturaj Gaikwad. It's just that Ruturaj is better.
Okay, then comes the next question as to where are you going to bat KL Rahul if you've got Ruturaj Gaikwad opening with Rohit Sharma, because KL Rahul and will then shift into the middle order, which is the kind of role that the Indian team management sees for him. But at what position would you want to play KL Rahul?
Yeah, so KL Rahul, has played from number 5 for India and has done very well. If you see his numbers, if you put up the graphics, he's got a century and 4 50s at a strike rate of 114 from number 5. And all those, those brilliant innings, Rajkot 80 or 52 against Australia, 112 in New Zealand, another one 88 not out of 64 balls in Hamilton, again have come post 220 Meha. So it's just happened, it's recently happened that he is playing the role of the finisher from number 5 and he has all the shots in the book. So whatever he can do opening the innings, interestingly, when he opens the innings, he, doesn't play aggressor. He has a striker in the 80s, but when he bats at 5, his true game comes out for India in ODI cricket, and he's done it successfully in the last year or so. So why change that? That way, Gaikwad and Rahul both are in the 11.
Okay. The other question being now, and I was just reading this quote from Sabah Karim as well, who said that he doesn't see Shikhar Dhawan on that flight to South Africa with the kind of form that we're seeing in Vijay Hazare as well, but also because Shikhar Dhawan hasn't really been in India's plan even in T20I internationals. Like we haven't seen Shikhar Dhawan play for India in a while. Is this the end of the road for Shikhar Dhawan? And he's also not been scoring runs in Vijay Hazare.
Yeah, his Vijay Hazare scores are 12, 18, 14, 12 and 0. So he's been in abysmal form in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. The thing with Dhawan is that age is not on his side, but he's been a great, and I use the word very carefully, a great ODI player, not a great T20 player. His numbers are phenomenal in ODI cricket. Also, he is a big tournament player. If you see his performances in the World Cup and then Champions Trophy, those are like remarkable, outstanding numbers, amongst the best of all time. So, and if we are selecting a squad, keeping in mind the World T20 next year and then the World, World Cup in 2023, uh, the problem is there'll be a temptation to include Dhawan, but you can only have so many openers, and Dhawan cannot bat anywhere else but open the innings. There's Gaikwad, there's Rohit Sharma.
There's Ishan Kishan.
There's Ishan Kishan. Prithvi Shaw is also in the wings. So, India has to look forward. I don't think Dhawan fits in the squad for South Africa, and maybe it is the
also because you have to keep in mind that do you see Shikhar Dhawan playing in the World Cup 2023? If you do, if you think that he has it in him to play that World Cup, then you keep him in the plans. But if you don't, then it's a harsh decision. But you've got to start preparing that team for the World Cup 2023, and you start from these ODIs in South Africa. Okay, let's talk about the other man who is in red hot form, the new all-rounder that India has, Venkatesh Iyer, just sort of carried off from IPL. There's nothing that Venkatesh Iyer is doing wrong at the moment.
Absolutely.
And you saw that even in Vijay Hazare Trophy.
I mean, change in profession, and what a change it has been.
Yeah.
He was the second highest run getter in the IPL after Gaikwad in the UAE leg, and in the Vijay Hazare Trophy he scored some 370 runs, at a very high strike rate, 8 wickets. He's very restrictive. He's completely taken over the role of the all-rounder, and the interesting thing is that he's getting these big runs from pressure situations. Team is losing wickets in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. He's coming and not only resurrecting the innings, he is smashing them. He scored a 151 of 113 balls with 10 sixes against Chandigarh from 56 for 4. So that shows not only his ability as a batsman, but also his character and temperament. Hardik Pandya is out with injury. He's I think at the NCA in Bangalore right now.
Should Hardik Pandya be available? I think they both would be on that flight to South Africa. Do you think?
Maybe because Hardik Pandya is still in the mix, given what he's done for India, in the last few years. But he's been woefully out of form. We saw it in the World Cup, in the IPL. So I think for the time being, at least, Venkatesh Iyer has taken India's spot at the all-rounder spot, and he will be replacing Hardik Pandya.
Okay, let's also talk about then the lead spinner for the Indian team, and there will be some discussion given how well our Ashwin has bowled in the T20 World Cup and also how he's bowled against New Zealand. So the 3 spinners in the mix that we've been discussing, Nikhil, our Ashwin comes into this, Yuzvendra Chahal with how he has bowled and how he's bowling right now in Vijay Hazare, and then there is Rahul Chahar, who happens to be Rohit Sharma's favourite.
Yes, correct. Now, this is interesting, and I think only one spinner will go to South Africa because it is South Africa. Or maybe they take 2. I think the 2 spinners who will actually go to South Africa would be R. Ashwin and Yuzvendra Chahal. Rahul Chahar, despite being, the Mumbai Indians boy, Rohit Sharma's boy, does not make the cut only on current form because he was not impressive in the UAE leg. He's not done much after. Also, R. Ashwin is in the form of his life. He's the best spinner in the world. Forget the format. He's the best spinner in the world. Although he's not played an ODI since 4 years, that doesn't make a difference. So Ashwin has to be on the board to South Africa. But I think currently India's best spinner in limited overs cricket again is Yuzvendra Chahal. He's come back. He came back brilliantly in the UAE leg of the IPL. He was the highest wicket taker among spinners, and he's the league in wicket taker in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. Chahal is back. Now, what Rohit Sharma's equation is with Yuzvendra Chahal played for RCB, I think that's immaterial, irrespective. This is India.
Absolutely.
And India comes first and last. So forget all that. I think on current form, Chahal and Ashwin will be the 2 spinners in the squad, but I would play Chahal over Ashwin.
Okay, Chahal over Ashwin. I would still think that given that R. Ashwin is in great form, and also it'll come down to how R. Ashwin performs in the Test series.
Absolutely.
And if he does end up taking a lot more wickets, then it'll probably be him even in the ODIs. But now let's take a look at News 9's ideal playing 11 for the ODIs in South Africa. We begin with the openers, and as we've discussed already, we have talked about it, Rohit Sharma being there as the captain. He will open with Ruturaj Gaikwad, given the kind of red-hot form that Ruturaj Gaikwad is in. Virat Kohli has already made it very clear that he's available for the ODIs. If anyone had any doubts, he's made it clear to Saurav Ganguly, to Arun Singh Dhumal, and whoever else who was listening that day at the press conference, and there were a million people who wanted to know what his thoughts were on whether he wanted to play the ODIs, made it very clear he's playing. Surya Kumar Yadav comes in, and that's where we had a bit of a disagreement, Nikhil and I. And why I say this is, and Nikhil can correct me if he thinks I'm wrong, I really do think that Shreyas Iyer needs to be in that place of Surya Kumar Yadav, given that he's not done anything wrong in the ODIs, got a great average and a strike rate of over 100, has got 100 and 850s. And then on top of that, you've just seen what he did against New Zealand in red ball cricket as well. I think that Shreyas Iyer should be there. Also, that is one thing that we disagree on. So Surya Kumar Yadav is in the middle order for Nikhil, but I would think that Shreyas Iyer would be there. Okay, then there is KL Rahul, as we said, at number 5, has done well. And then Rishabh Pant, Venkatesh Iyer as our all-round option. The 4 fast bowlers sort of select themselves here, because there is Jasprit Bumrah, Deepak Chahar, Mohammad Shami, and Yuzvendra Chahal. So 3 fast bowlers, and we've gone in with the spinner. Nikhil, I think this is given how the conditions are going to be in South Africa. You would think that this is a very balanced playing 11.
I would agree so, because see, if it was India, then you get a spin all-rounder, but this is South Africa, therefore Venkatesh, a fast bowling all-rounder, works better. Also Jadeja is injured,
yeah. So you don't
and Akshar Patel is also injured. So the only contest, Surya Kumar Yadav Meha, because I think he has the X factor. He can, produce those magical innings and single-handedly win against any opposition, which I don't think Shreyas Iyer may be able to do against, very high quality opposition.
Fair enough. I think that's a very personal, choice
that
one has. So that is our playing 11 for South Africa in the ODIs. What you think of it? If you think you would want somebody else to play in South Africa, do comment, do write in to us. That's it we have on the show. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.